So Politifact is an organization where I don't think they're perfect. They've gotten into some feuds before with Rachel Maddow, for example, and with the specific thing they were arguing about, I don't want to get into it now, but I think Maddow was right and Politifact was wrong. We covered a study a while back about how whoever was the head of Politifact bent over backwards to try to suppress a study that came out on their fact checks, which found that Democrats just tell the truth more than Republicans. And the fact that the guy tried to, hide this proves to me that they've bought into what I call the neutrality bias. It's false equivalence. So if you really care about truth, then you wouldn't give a fuck that, your own site shows that Democrats tell the truth more than Republicans. You'd say that it is what it is. Of course you can release it. But he wanted to suppress that, and he wanted to suppress that because, he thought that it would somehow be more objective to say it's 50-50. But that's the thing, it's not 50-50. And also, you notice in individual stories, they do bend over backwards to treat the Republicans with kid gloves, perhaps because they're trying to get closer to that 50-50 number with fact checks. They'll, harp away on minor parts of a claim some liberal makes, and they say, well, this makes it not totally true, it's only half true now because I can blow this thing out of proportion and whatever. So it's not a perfect group. They gave Obama the lie of the year for something that definitely wasn't a lie of the year, and I'm no fan of Obama. I go after him all the time when I think he's wrong. That happens often. But, when Obama said, if you like your health care, you can keep it, and they say, oh, the lie of the year, oh my God, that's such a lie. But it's really not the lie of the year, because to complete that sentence, for it to be true, all he would have had to say is, if you like your healthcare, you can keep it, unless it's the worst kind of healthcare, in which case we're going to improve it and you're going to pay less. I mean, so as far as lies go, and I'm not in favor of lies, it's a good lie because the net result was actually better than what he let on. So to go after, oh my God, lie. I mean, that's stupid because all the people who lost their health care, they had shitty health care and they got better health care for cheaper. So again, I know I'm dragging on here, but Politifact they're so-so. They're not perfect. They're sometimes right, sometimes wrong. But they released their lie of the year for 2015. And this one, do I think they got it right? This year, absolutely. And the reason is, who did they pick? Donald Trump. It was so bad, and he told so many lies, that they were like, we can't pick just one. We're just going to give it to his whole campaign. So they went through a list of a bunch of his lies and said, yeah, this is not okay. So let me give you what they say. Quote, Politifact has been documenting Trump's statements on our Truthometer, where we've rated 76% of them mostly false, or pants on fire out of 77 statements checked. No other politician has as many statements rated so far down the dial. So again, they couldn't settle on just one because everything he says is hilarious. So let me lay out a few of them for you. First of all, they say, Trump's claim that thousands of people cheered in New Jersey when the World Trade Center came down. Total bullshit. Total bullshit. The second thing they say is when he claimed that the Mexican government, quote, sends the bad ones over. This was in a classic Trump anti-immigration rant. He just made it up. Yeah, the Mexican government sends over the bad ones. He's like maybe kind of alluding to the fact that Cuba did that a while ago. Castro emptied the prisons and sent all the prisoners to the U.S. to get revenge for what we had done to them. But it's just not true in the case of Mexico. You made it up. But he doesn't care about facts. All right, more. And this, I think, was... if I had to pick one over all the others, I would definitely pick this one. When he retweeted the neo-Nazi graphic, literally... It was from a neo-Nazi account that tweeted this out. And it said, whites killed by whites, 16%. Whites killed by blacks, 81%. Totally not true. Totally not true. And of course, just flat out racist undertones. It's from a fucking neo-Nazi account. He retweets it. And then he said on O'Reilly Show, I mean, what do you want me to do? Bill check everything before I send it out? Yeah! Yeah, you're running for president of the United States of America. What the fuck? How do you think this works? I get to say whatever I want, and then it just stands on its own, even if it's not true. This guy is unbelievable. And to give you a peek inside of his brain, which is a scary thing to do, I agree. Listen to what he said in his 1987 bestseller book, The Art of the Deal. This is pretty telling. Quote, people may not always think big of themselves. People may not always think big themselves, but they can still get very excited by those who do. That's why a little hyperbole never hurts. People want to believe that something is the biggest and the greatest and the most spectacular. I call it truthful hyperbole. It's an innocent form of exaggeration and a very effective form of promotion. That is Donald Trump in a nutshell. Because what he's describing there is, it's this ends justify the means kind of approach to politics, where he thinks the Republicans are largely right about stuff. So, in his mind, immigrants equal bad. And blacks equal criminals. So, hey, true enough. So if I say, the Mexicans, they're criminals, they're rapists. Some of them are good people. He's like, true enough. Hey, these stats may not be exactly true, but true enough. Hey, the Mexican government is sending the bad ones over. Well, enough people come in that we think are criminals, so good enough, true enough. No, it's not. It's false in every case, but in his mind, he thinks true enough, so he would call this truthful hyperbole. This is, I might be technically wrong, but there's a kernel of truth in there, and it's just truthful hyperbole is what I'm doing. And as he says, this is an innocent form of exaggeration and a very effective form of promotion. For all of Donald Trump's downsides, and it's almost all downsides, what he knows how to do is self-promote. I mean, 4 of his businesses went bankrupt. So one of the things that he does now is he just sells the rights to his name to other people who want to start businesses, and they just pay him the rights to keep using that name. So he did enough self-promotion and self-aggrandizement, and he equated in people's minds the word Trump with success, that other people are like, I'll just pay you to use your name, and then I'm going to set up my own hotel or my own restaurant or my own this or my own that. And he gets to sit back and just collect checks. For all of his flaws, he's an amazing promoter. Basically, what he said to everybody is, hey, I'm the Michael Jordan of life. I'm the Tiger Woods of life. I'm the Wayne Gretzky of life. I got it all figured out, man. I'm a business genius. 4 bankruptcies? No, I was exploiting the laws for my own advantage, as you fucking screwed over so many other people. But I chose to do it. So I wanted those bankruptcies. How about that? And people really fall for it. Because, and again, very important point here, it gets to this. It's how he says it. Not what he's saying, it's how he's saying it. So you come out there with enough confidence, enough bravado, and people start to go, I smell strength on that man. I'm with him, especially if we're talking about the Republican base. I mean, they're not one to dive into the nuance of marginal tax rates and policy substance. So they say, ooh, I sense the strength. Strong leader. Me follow strong leader. And he just keeps going. So that's why he's doing well. He's doing well because of how he says the shit that he says. And he does well because he says everything. This is one of my theories I came up with recently. But you can see it. It's clearly demonstrated. He'll say things that are so far right and it's just red meat to the base about blacks and Mexicans and Muslims and they're bad people and this and that the base eats it up. But then he'll say enough things where people who aren't even in the base go, I like that. Like when he said the other day in the debate, randomly promoting doing infrastructure spending, fixing our roads and our bridges, getting people jobs, making America great in that sense. Or he says, these politicians are all corrupt, they're puppets of the billionaires, this and that. People go, oh my God, that's populist. That's like, he's tapping into something, man. He's tapping into something because he's overly confident and he says everything. So everybody hears only what they want to hear in his base or in the Republican base. So they're projecting what their opinions and beliefs are onto him, and all he does is he says a little bit of everything and does it with confidence, and people go, that's it. That's my guy right there. It's scary to watch this, and everybody to this point has underestimated him, including myself at times. But look, I learned my lesson quickly. After the first time I predicted a downfall in the polls and he went up, I went, mental note, that's it. Every time I see something and I think that's going to be a decrease in the polls, I'm not going to say it's going to be a decrease in the polls because you never know with this guy. He's breaking that trend. And I was right after that because even when he said, retweeted the neo-Nazi graphic, he went up in the polls. Even after he said, ban all Muslims from entering the U.S., he went up in the polls. So be careful, man. Don't underestimate him. But here's what's for sure. He is the liar of the year, and the facts prove that.